We are talking to the dev of Digital Creative Framework. We've already spoke with him on the air the first time we did the game. Um, we went over the game again yesterday, so we went over it twice now. We did some creation parts in this game. It is uh, a sandbox game. You're able to create everything, and then you can even play on your map on that part as well after you create it, and you can subscribe to other workshops and stuff like that. But here we go right now. I'm going to say this name wrong. So, Orange, how are you doing? And welcome on in.
I'm good. I'm good. My name is Lucian. You can call me that. And
Lucian.
then,
Lucian,
yeah.
okay?
Mm. Yeah, it's Oranje, but that's orange in Dutch. So yeah, you're absolutely right. You can say orange and be
Okay.
legitimate. So you're good. um, well, hey, thanks for having me on again. I have this new update coming out, and I thought, well, maybe we can mess around with the grenades to better suit your needs. But before I jump into that, I did want to show you that I did go into the flatten tool, which will be renamed the cube tool soon, and check it out. I have it so now it it's a little slower. It's still too fast, but now at least you can see what you're bringing in.
Yeah.
If you can see that on the screen.
Okay.
So, so anyway, so I just wanted to show you that. That's one of the new things that's in this patch. Um, like I say, there's a lot more coming with the terrain soon, so that's going through a big gestation in the next couple releases. And then let's see, I kind of wanted to give you kind of an update on what all I have here. So, oh yeah, one of the big things I wanted to show you in the new update is there. So we got the cars really nicely tuned in and stuff like that. And then on that last one, you showed the vehicle customizer that you can use the customizer. But now I also have it so you can have all these parts in buildable. So now if I go into my inventory, I can actually place a ramp out here on. This is one of the ones that's kind of hokey to build, but most of them are pretty good. But you can see like a loop to loop and all of that. So that allows so you can have even more track building ability, and then you can save these. This is like a street lamp. There we go. So track lamp. Um, so that's in the new thing. And then also been a couple little things that happened over the last couple days that have been kind of cool. So also figured out how to make it so you now can climb the surfaces, and then got a couple other little things going on with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I wanted to kind of show you like how easily we can update and adjust things because you had said, oh well, the grenades don't look quite right. So let's go in here really quick and
So,
we'll go over and grab a
most
grenade.
most people that are in here right now know this game as we've done it before, but there's a few new faces in here as well. How would you describe this game to others?
It's so difficult. It's a survival game. Like the base mechanism is survival, obviously.
Hmm.
But then you also you have like you have your building, so your normal house building type thing or base building that you have in Rust or Conan or that type of thing. Now these pieces will eventually be able to be expanded because this also has the ability to now, and I can show this off now. This mesh level can actually bring in meshes from your desktop and then actually eventually it's not quite there yet, but it eventually will be able to upload them to Workshop, so you'll not only be able to share your maps, but you'll be able to share models and walls and whatever you want to come up with. And then so yeah, and then also on the crafting bench also now all the way on the bottom you'll see all those ramps that you saw below, and the
Hmm.
car customizers there as well. So you can just use this to build them, and then build them out into the world. Um, so yeah, it's a survival game, but it will soon be a racing game. Because the next thing that's going in is I've got these checkpoints. Um, it's a blueprint for checkpoints that I'm modifying into a buildable, so you'll be able to put down race gates and you'll be able to make an actual race, and then you'll be able to time trial on it, and then when you come into the world, you could even have a high scoreboard that shows everybody, everybody that's been in your world, and where they where they rank in that race or whatever, if that makes sense.
All right. So in this, is there? So I've been playing around with this game myself and so forth. Is there any way to, when you start a server, to change like how the gameplay itself goes, as far as like set uh any types of objectives or anything like that?
So at this point, no, it's pretty much open. But what the idea is yeah, you'll be able to, as the server owner in the C menu, this world menu, you'll be able to kick off different modes. So if you wanted to
Okay.
do like a PUBG type survival mode where it's down to the last guy, you could just kick that off here. And then you could set that your map has starting positions for that, and does that scenario out on the same map. Or on races, it's just you could set it that when they go through that first gate, then it starts the race clock, and then they can go on a time trial. So in that sense, that's eventually will all be in here where you can take all the different play modes. But yeah,
Hmm.
because the camera is so flexible, you could make any type of game mode really you want with it. And so it's more about locking down what type of game modes you want, and timer and that type of thing in that, and then we can just assign it in here, and you just basically go in here and say, okay, I'm going to click off a survival game and click that off, or I'm going to drop in a bunch of enemy AI and have it fight there, or you can have it like camp in your world and have it like a build piece as well, right? So eventually you'll be able to drop whole camps of enemies and all sorts of different AI as well, whether that be animals or wildlife or whatever.
And do you or will you have first person view mode on this as well?
So there is a partial first person in it right now,
Okay.
and so it's definitely a possibility to go to it. As you can see, it kind of jankers up the canyon.
Hmm.
But what I am looking to kind of look at is what I would like to do is this. I need to fix this trace. It's a little hokey. I don't know why. Anyway, if you right click, you see how it moves the camera in.
Yeah.
Okay, so that what I would like to do is if you right click, it goes into first person mode, and
Okay.
then when you back out and you don't have a gun, or when you have a gun and you right click again, then you'll back out to this view, and then when you click in, you'd go to first person view.
Yeah.
So you'd
First
have a
person,
nice.
or the scope part of it from that
Yeah,
part, something like what
exactly.
PUBG does.
Exactly. Like a good aiming view is
Yeah.
basically like I'm shooting now, right?
Hmm.
And then would be the idea behind using that mechanic right there to do that. So we should be able to do it without much of a problem. And the gun system is actually pretty open. It has attachments and multi-fire modes and so there is definitely a lot more we can do with the guns, to add in stuff like that. So.
Okay. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to go off a subject on it from that part. Just wanted
No,
to
no,
show
no.
more of the gameplay
Absolutely.
wise for everybody before we then go into specifics of things you're going to add. Are you going to go over some of the ramps you were mentioning as well, or no?
Sure, I mean, I can show them to you.
Right. Well, what do you want to start off with right now? Go ahead and let's start with what you want to show of what's
Well,
going
we
to be
can.
coming out for the next update.
Let's see. Well, I pretty much did that. Let's see. I did the car customizer. There's a cable save power. So the in the power mode, so you can come down here. So this is the construct level for people who don't know, and this is
Mhm.
basically a level where you can see everything that's pretty much in the game, and mess with it. So let's see. So basically, if I take here and make a battery, right, and then I take a generator, okay, and before, so now I can wire this up, and let's see, I need to go to output here, and then here, and then we'll go over here, find the damn plug. Okay. Anyway, input. Okay, so now that it's wired up, you can see that it's gaining power because of the generator, right? And that's how the power system works. Unfortunately, when you saved before, this cable wouldn't stay. So you'd have to rewire everything every time you came into the game. So I was able to fix that bug. That's good. Let's see. That was a
Yeah,
long
everybody
description.
knows here we are really good at finding bugs, even on
Well,
accident.
and that's it's a lot of the bugs are not known to me because there's just not a lot of people playing, right? I mean, the
Mm,
more bugs that are known, the faster I get through them. You can see that I keep a list of pretty much everything that I've got going on in it, and it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Now, there's a whole other list for the AI side of things that's actually really big right now, but I actually have to focus on that over the next couple weeks.
mhm.
But anyway, yeah. So you have all those updates, and then I updated the plugins. I did that out button on the import level, so now you can jump out of that out mesh level. I updated the crafting bench. I did that cube car customizer. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then oh yeah, I did a new picture for the parachute. So I'll show you really quick how those ramps work. But
I have some coming up with questions on here, but I think what we're gonna do is have like a QA session at the last 10 minutes or so forth,
okay.
so that they can ask you the questions and go from that part, and so we don't get off track or anything like that as well.
Yeah, that's fine. Either way. And so basically, okay, so the ramps wise work like any of the building parts, so you can rotate them and put them in. And so now that ramp is in there. And so if I take a car, and that camera is screwed up right there. So real quick, to do the customizer, you just roll your vehicle up on it and then step away from it and then
Hmm.
step back toward it and hit M, and now we can change it to whatever you want.
Yeah, yesterday we changed the motorbike to a cop bike.
Yeah, yeah. There's cop stuff in there. There's taxis for some of the stuff. So it's the car pack is just these guys from out of Spain.
Hmm.
But
So you can turn this into like a cops and robbers thing, huh?
yeah, oh yeah, and um, there's lights in the car too. And then in the cop car, actually, uh, I have a bug where you get in the customizer and then for some reason you can't get out of the car again. I got to figure that out. I'm hoping to figure that out soon. But yeah, in the cop car, let's pull one in really quick here. It even has two different sirens. so so you can yeah, you can definitely do a lot with it, and eventually, like I say, that'll be that customizer might be like a garage eventually, where you pull the car into the garage like GTA style, and then you can do all your customizations from that point. But we'll see how it kind of evolves, because that stand doesn't work too bad either. So
Are
it
we
just
supposed to be
depends
here?
on what.
Are we supposed to be able to hear sound or no?
No, you wouldn't be able to hear sound, but there was two
Okay.
different sirens there with the
Okay.
different lights. So yeah. Let's see. Okay, so let's get into what we were going to talk about. So, grenades and guns.
Okay.
So, in the game so far, we have, and you probably saw this, we have the shotgun, we have a pistol, and we have an AR-15 or a M4A4. And then it's got magazines for all of those. There's also a scope and or a silencer and a red dot sight for the M4, and there's also different butts for it. So they are modular. And so basically, what we can do is eventually come in here and open these up as well for the static mesh swap outs. And
Hmm.
so eventually, you'll be able to just basically pick your weapon template and then build in whatever type of gun you want to build in. But for explosives wise, we have C4, which is obviously uh, and then we
C4
have
and the
grenades.
grenade. Okay.
So
We
the
get to make stuff
C4,
go boom. Sorry, had
exactly. So
to.
the C4 just attaches to stuff, and then it'll blow it up.
Now, I saw this
Event-
last time. Did you have
Eventually,
to, does it
and
go
you'll
off
see.
by itself or do you have to trigger it?
No, it goes off by itself. It's on a
Okay.
timer.
What's
Now
the timer set for?
we can look into that. But yeah, we can set it to be longer or different, or we could set it with a trigger mechanism. We could definitely
Hmm.
build that in. So that would definitely be possible. And then also you have the grenades, which is more obviously the throw. And it's hard to get them to. I wish I could.
So like with that
Yeah,
explosion
but you
right
can
there,
see.
how far does the damage go for the nade? Is it just
Well,
one
you can
what looks
see
to be
that
one of the
these
white squares?
foundations here. You can see these foundations here are hit by them, right?
Hmm.
So, um, so basically we can go back again and grab some more, and then we
So
can
like
kind
if we're having a nade fight and throwing the nades at each other, how close does it need to be to the person to do damage and how much damage does it do?
of. Okay, so what I would suggest then is we look at, so let's do this.
And I'd have the same question for the C4.
Right. Okay. So what we can do is we can just build BEP and BEP and BEP and BEP. Okay. So these are wood. Okay. So and technically it doesn't really matter, but basically what I'm thinking is I'll just drop a grenade right here in the middle, and then we can kind of see. Um, okay, that's not gonna work. Let's see. Okay, so it did not hit over here. It took 70 of that damage right next to it,
Mhm.
and it did not hit over here.
Will
So
it do the same?
probably needs.
Sorry, will it do the same amount of damage to a person in the game as it would an object?
So the damage markers are set here, and that is here. No, no, no. Here, right here.
Hmm.
So this is damage, and then your hitbox. So head, arms, chest, legs, hands, feet. So and then it would basically doing one damage per thing. Now, if I stand right next to it, so I don't have a way to show health here. Um, I think it's just one or two that will kill you if you stand right next to it. Hold on.
Hey Simon, so you're saying the stream is up again? Yeah, I had to close it down for a moment. You said that so this game is called, why do I keep forgetting the name of it? Digital Creative Framework. It's Digital Creative Framework. We've actually gone over this game twice already, and we have the dev on here with us right now, going over some features that is going to be modifying and showing some other things on it, like the C4, the nades and the ramps and so forth. I've given out 10 copies of this game. I have 2 more to give out for anybody interested in it, but we want to do it for anybody that's actually wanting to play it. You can create your own maps and put it up under workshop for other people to subscribe to and be able to play it together. And there's a lot of other things going on for it as well. It's set up out there as a full release, but it's constantly still being worked on and things added and modified within the game. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Hmm. Boy, it doesn't seem to be doing nothing to me. There it goes.
There you go.
That took like 8 of them. Wow. All right.
So I didn't even see the health go down until then. So is it based on how close you have to be to the nade?
No. The health wasn't. So the health isn't shown. So the way that the health is working on this game is going to be through that little drone that's in the
Mm-hmm.
game normally. He turns a different color. So actually, I can show you really quick.
Yeah, and it seems like so far of what I've been testing as far as hitting the character with a car or the shooting and stuff like that, it almost seems like the character has like a 300 health bar or something.
Okay.
So one thing everybody out there in the gaming world has different opinions and stuff like that, and whenever it comes to nades in there, it is really it's really a thing out there where you think the nade's going to finish it off or at least do most damage. And so games like Counter-Strike, you can hit them with a nade, but they still not die. While other FPS ones, you hit them with a nade dead on or close enough, it's going to do the full-on damage and they die in the game. But then it could also be partial, like with PUBG, where if you have the level 3 vest, it does a lot of damage, but it doesn't kill them right away, depending on the distance wise, where then it does, like, let's say 80% of the damage, and then they're still alive and able to heal, stuff like that.
Right.
So we
Right.
see a lot of differences based on nade damage within the game.
Right. And it's almost in my book, I almost want to make it more that it's customizable so that you
Hmm.
can kind of craft your own grenades in it and come up with how you want them to be, right?
Yeah.
Is more how I'd see it to be more effective.
And if
Um,
we have the ability to do that when hosting a server and so forth, then that'd be great as well, anyways. And then, of course, whenever it comes to hosting and different things like that, I would like to be able to do old school where we already have it in a config and then just execute the config or something.
well, and that's yeah. There's so that curtain screen that you hear me talk about in some of the tutorials.
Hmm.
Yeah, see, he's going to yellow now, so he's at about 40% health, and then now he'll go
Yeah, because
red.
most people wouldn't like that of
See
how
how
you.
it goes red?
Yeah. Mo-
So eventually it'll be much more, much more in your face with his health. But
mm.
yeah, right now that's how it's working, and so it's a little bit obtuse. But yeah, basically, I think we can go in here and
And
change.
so some of the topics we've already discussed off the air and so forth, or even on the air, was about the distance of the damage for each explosive device.
Yeah, I agree. I think we need to make the distance and the damage itself go up.
Hmm.
So what we'd want to do is look at, so these are minimum and maximum damage counters. So this is how much it's going to be. That's the projectile speed. And then
So from what you're telling me as well, you would still like people to be able to even adjust that themselves as well in those
right.
settings. But then we probably want at least a higher default to where then they lower it or raise it from there.
Right. So I understand that. Okay, so with DCF, there's kind of two stages of development. First,
Hmm.
there's like we get it tuned in from the editor side of it,
Yeah.
and then we look for how do we open it so that now the player can just take that template for grenade and make themselves a bunch of different grenades. Because there's billions and billions of effects out there that could be harnessed very easily. So you could have, you could take that grenade model and make it a magic spell and have it do like dark magic, effects and stuff like that
Mhm.
very easily. All of those effects could also be swapped out as well. So like, oh well, let me just show you in. Um, okay, so the character itself, when you double jump, it has that little burst by the side. You can actually change that.
Hmm.
And so every player could have that burst be something different that they want it to be. So all of those things are going to be made granular so that you can then upload them to Workshop and share them, and then have. And then when you go to that first screen, that screen that has all the maps listed on it, that will be the screen that basically matches the world that you're visiting from all the parts that you have, right? So it'll basically say, "Hey, you need this, this, and this, and this," and then your system will go, "Yep, I've got it all," and then it goes, "Okay, fine, you load into the world." So it's all automatic. At the end, it'll all be automatic. You won't be like comparing maps and stuff like that at all.
Yeah, and I don't mean to put us off course or anything on it, but the quick question I have for that is if we do then get to where we can make changes as far as the values and everything from that part, whether it's a config file or anything else from there, it would that all be attached to the map that we upload into the workshop, or you have to first have the map from the workshop and then when you host it, that's where you go by the config file or
No,
whatever you use to be able to make the
it's all
changes.
granular. It's all granular. So if you upload a new grenade to the
Hmm.
workshop, then it's a new grenade. And if anybody wants to use that in their world, they'll just add that grenade to their world. So eventually this construct will be like the Matrix where you pick everything that's in your world. And if you want to leave stuff out, it won't show up in your world. So that way you can control, like if you say, "Hey, I don't want cars in my world," you can just leave them out of your world. Right? In this construct, you just come in here and take them all out and they won't be in your particular world anymore. And
So,
it'll be the same thing for adding things. So if I come in here and say, "Okay, I'm going to change all these walls out," they're just workshop files. So there's a workshop file for that wall, there's a workshop file for that foundation, and all of that. And so basically, all you're changing out is those. And so when you come into a world, it sends you a list and says, "These are all the files I use." And then your system says, "Okay, I have all those files clicked into place. Now I can go into the world."
So once you
So
once you subscribe to a map in the workshop and it pulls over to your game, that content is downloaded in, and you are then able to use that yourself as well.
So no. Okay, so
Oh, okay.
that's the thing that I was planning on. So I noticed that yesterday you had that confused. So
Okay,
basically,
sorry.
okay, no, not at all. Don't feel bad at all. I realize how big this thing is, and it's gangly as shit. So, but okay, so the geometry of the map is the only thing that's saved on the map workshop file. So all the stuff that you build in, like all the architecture and buildings and ramps and stuff like that, that is saved in the save game file. So
Hmm.
let me pop into the game really quick and I can show you.
So if you wanted others to be able to see the all the things that you added onto the map and so forth, that's actually in the save file. So
That's in
you.
the save file, but they don't have to. Okay, so all they need is the geometry. The
Mhm.
save file loads over the network. So
Okay.
so if I go in here and I go, okay, I'm gonna create a server here,
Now,
and
can they
um,
also save that everything that was built as well, or only the one that hosts it?
so you save it
Mhm.
on your world, right? So
Yeah.
okay, so if I terraform this world, right, and then
Hmm.
and then save it, that makes a world save file, and that goes up to Workshop, independent of anything else. Okay. Now, if I build on it, um, right, and anything with building, including ramps, anything that's basically using this building mechanic, right, is going to use the game save. So that is here in save game,
Hmm.
and you can save a game, blah 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 blah. Okay, and so now that architecture is in there. So if I click on load save game and load, it'll load into that, right? So if I pop out, the world is going to be the same because that loads when you click on the load button here, right?
Hmm.
So I don't have the curtain activated right now here, but and then now if I go into load game and load that, it loads the architecture.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So the architecture cannot save on the map if you put it out there in the workshop?
it doesn't save on the map, but when they visit you, they'll see all your architecture because it's your save game. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
So
So that so I can go. So here, let me go to the actual game here.
the only part they'll actually see when you load it up to the workshop is just the land part then, as far as all the design wise and everything else, but not anything
Yeah,
else you build on top of it. Okay. Because a
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
people want to be able to create on that to share even that part of the environment, but they're not able to do that unless they actually host the game or send that save file to someone else. Is that accurate?
Yeah, the save file is shareable, but you have to send it to somebody else. Now,
Yeah.
but again, if they visit your world and they load the geography, the map,
Hmm.
and then they go into the save file, or and then they'll see your save file from there, right? So if I was hosting a world and I had a big building in it,
But
you
that's
would
only if I'm
see the
hosting
you would
the
see the
creator.
big building.
But that's only if the creator is hosting it, not someone else, the one that
Well,
did the work.
right. The first, well, okay, so it's independent, right? So
Yeah.
like I could host it with one building on it, and then you could host it with a completely different building on
Yeah.
it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, but the only thing that it would be the same as the map. But yeah, right. The geography, basically, in simple terms, the geography or the map itself is saved into that map file,
Mm.
and that one is the one that's sent up to workshop. And then all the architecture or build that you put in there, all the human built stuff, basically is saved in the save game, and that's separate. And so you can put that in, and if you put a save game in and somebody comes in and builds a house in your world and you save it, then the next time you go in there, their house will still be there
Yeah.
unless you blow it up.
So it's all the save. It's all the whole like a save host type thing. You save it from that part. It's locally for the host. You can't send that back out to the
Right.
the workshop or anything. But any land that's added to it, if you then update it that way, the land will be updated on the workshop, but not the buildings and other things in place.
Well, it'll be updated in your world,
But
right? Like
I mean, if I wanted to update it on out on the workshop would not
so
have the buildings.
the way the workshop is going to work is that it's going to save individual pieces.
Hmm.
So you'll be able to have all your different pieces in there, whether you have different foundations or different guns or different cars or whatever you have that's different than the original game will all be in those workshop files. But also the workshop will be able to contain building plans. That's something I'm working towards. So you'll be able to
Okay.
click on a house that you built or a castle or something that you built in the game and save that architectural plan and then just rebuild that whole thing in other environments as well. So
Okay.
eventually that'll come as well. And so, but yeah, the actual save game, you could, I mean, you can share it, you can still send it to each other. It's just a file, but you don't really need to because if you're hosting the world with the castle in it and they come into your world, they're going to see the castle.
Yeah, but just like if others wanted to be able to host that already and not do the work all over again type thing.
Then yeah, absolutely. You just grab the file and send it
Yeah.
over. And eventually, I mean, if we find that that's something that people say, hey, I want to be able to like share my whole environment type thing, then we can definitely put that to workshop too, right? Like we could
Hmm.
take these safe game files and move them to workshop too. So it's just kind of what the community says is the best way to do it because that's kind of a quality of life thing. So.
So what were you wanting to do next on the as far as the C4 and the grenades? Were we wanting to work on
Well,
the space and the damage or
yeah, we can definitely look at the damage on them. So basically, the settings for the grenades are going to be in a couple different spots. And that's going to be the throw on it. Let's see.
Yeah, and sorry, I have a tendency sometime to go a little off topic down a rabbit hole.
No, that's fine. I figured as much. As the grenades thing was just kind of a way to get in and start talking about
Yeah.
stuff. So I'm totally cool with that. And then um I'm trying to
Yeah, but
figure
if
out.
there's anything else you want to show on it from right now, go ahead. If you want to switch to something else, that's fine too.
Um like I say, I think that the biggest things right now is that like the cars are so close to being really dialed in
Mm.
that for tracks and stuff like that, this is going to be really slick. It just, and then also, I wanted to show you. Also, I noticed the last time you were terraforming, I wanted to show you this thing. So, um,
And you said something
if
about
you,
ramps.
well, yeah, I showed you the ramps, right? Didn't I?
I don't believe so.
Okay, so here. Oh, did want to show you. You can dig with it as well with the
Yeah.
surface, and then that'll give you a kind of nice,
Yeah,
smooth.
we started working on that yesterday. Now that I knew you could actually remove through
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it makes for really cool stuff. I mean, you can make caves and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So for tracks, it's going to be super slick. And then, like I say, yeah, that the biggest thing for that flatten tool that helps a lot to be able to see what the heck
Yeah.
you're doing. So I'm glad about that. But yeah, basically, so down here on the construct anyway. Um, whoop, whoa, come on, that's really strange. When I goes, oh, I think it crashed it.
What, the game crashed?
My editor.
Oh,
That's not just the game. That's the whole
yeah.
editor. And I've been running lots of stuff, so it makes sense. Um,
All right, while you bring that back up, give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
okay.
All right, I'm back. Sorry.
Okay. I'm just grabbing some of the ramps here.
I had to get my son ready for his appointment. Of course, he was playing video games.
Of course he was.
All right, so you got your motorcycle.
Okay, I got my motorcycle, and so now we just can drop a ramp.
Okay. Rotating it. See, my brain just now went ahead and took those three cars that are up on the ramp and put it in that's up on the platform and put it in front of the ramp as you do like an Evil Knievel thing, jump into cars and stuff.
Oh yeah, let's do that. Hold on.
Now you got to have the other ramp that you can connect to after.
ah. Oh yeah, I can do that. All right, so let's see.
See, my brain already created buses, helicopters, and
That's but that
I know.
it's totally easily doable. That's what's crazy about this whole game is it's like, okay, here we go. And then you said we needed a landing ramp.
Yeah.
Doesn't count if we don't get a landing ramp.
So
But yeah, like I say, I'm so
ca-
stoked to just see this ramp thing working. This is so cool to me.
once you place the ramp, can you adjust it to stretch out more, or while you place it, can you
Mm,
make it like taller or adjust or anything, or is it just a ramp place the box, you're done?
yeah, place the box, you're done on this one.
Okay.
So, but there's like I mean, you can obviously adjust the landscape too, right? Like I
Hmm.
can make the landscape a ramp too.
Yeah.
So
But the ramps that you have that you can insert in it from that part are already locked in positions and angles and so forth.
for the most part, yeah. I mean, it
Okay.
definitely could look into that, but
Yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, it's just a simple knowing where to place them based on where you're launching from and everything from that part. And then, like you said, you can also make your own ramps.
I didn't make it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think he made it, everybody. I don't think he made it.
Didn't make it. Didn't make it. Um, let's see. Whoops. All right. Anyway, but yeah, that's how the ramps basically work. So you basically set them down,
Huh?
and the customizer's the same way. So let's see if I can find where I have that. Yeah. So basically, you can set the customizer down anywhere you want, and then use it for your cars and stuff like that. So
Okay.
so that way, it's kind of slick because that opens up the ability to change the cars into whatever you want them to be. And then, like I say, I also have a checkpoint blueprint that I'm working with. So eventually, you'll be able to also place down race gates, and so you'll be able to make a track and track people's times, and then we could conceivably have a high scoreboard in the level, and everybody
Cool.
could see their high score of that race and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, and I think that's what a lot of people would want for something like this, being able to like you said, it's just a base setup sandbox type thing, but then being able to set up a game within a game. So like if you have your race tracks where you can go ahead and set it for the laps, or like let's say if you turn into a sporting game, like if you can throw a basketball in a hoop or something, you have a scoreboard for that or whatever.
Right.
However
Yeah. No,
far
and
you'd
that's
want to go with that.
absolutely, we can definitely have like a basketball type game in it, and
Hmm.
skateboarding and that kind of thing. Eventually, all be able to slot right in the game. I mean, it's open for all of it, so it can basically we can add in anything we want with it. And it's just more about what direction people want it to go, because usually it's about like this week it's been 2 updates this week, but usually it's like 1 update a week, but it's pretty significant. Every update is getting better and better and better, and so I mean, it's really getting to the point where it's real close to having pretty much everything you'd have in any major game. And really, people are like, oh, what do you do? And it's like, well, there's tons of modes in this game that
Sorry.
you
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
uh
Sorry. I'll say something after this. Go ahead.
yeah, there's tons of modes that this game can do. And like I say, when people look at a battle royale, it's like, well, okay, that's just everybody fights until there's only one person left. That's
Mm.
pretty easy programmatically to put into a game. And like a race is pretty easy to get into a game. So the idea is that this will allow you that you'll come to somebody's world and they'll have a race there, and then on that same token, they'll say, okay, we're going to play a battle royale. And so they kick off the battle royale game, and everybody parachutes in and starts using what they know about that map and that person's map to be able to win the, you know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
it's open to be able to do anything, but not only that, it's open to be able to be switched, so anybody can come in here. So I really think that streamers are going to get a kick out of it eventually, because you can build your own world, and all your friends can come into that world, and you can play whatever you want in that world. So in that sense, eventually that creativity hopefully will show through, and people will use it for that.
When you just went down that hill sliding, I just turned it into a skiing game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, easily. And I mean,
You just need skis on those
actually,
feet, and there you go.
yeah. He can slide.
But then would definitely want for a lot of the
uh,
vehicles that's supposed to be able to have that type of adjustment and stuff like that, and equipment and with the adjustments, you'd want to have something to be able to adjust at the angles, like the motorcycle adjusting up and down to be able to control from that part, and maybe same thing if you did skis or anything like that. And
so I
not
think
like the
that
regular vehicles, but like certain vehicles you should have that type of control over, like the bike, like the
right.
motorbike.
The motorbikes, yeah. I think that actually, if you hit control, I can't remember. There, yeah. Well, I can't remember it right now, but there's a key on the motorcycle that allows tricks, so it
Hmm.
allows more of an open kind
Oh, is
of
there one
flow on the
that
yeah.
allows tricks? I didn't see one prior.
It's yeah, I can't remember what it is. I'll have to look it up and I'll
Okay.
report it back to you. But yeah, there is a trick. It's not. It just allows wheelies right now, and it allows your angle to change. And I think it does it in the air, but I need to double check that. That's why I
Okay.
didn't want to say too much with it. But yeah, like I say, everything is so open in it and so workable that eventually we could make it that everybody can go in there and just create whatever the heck they want. Because I see those farming games, and this thing has a great farming system in it. So it's like, wow, you could go in there and create your own plants and make your own farm, and have a cozy farm game in the same game that you can play a survival game or a fight game in or whatever.
By
So eventually,
default, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I'd like to see melee combat be better because it's really
Mhm.
horrible in this right now. And like I say, expansion of skateboarding. There's a flying pack that I have that would be able to add the glider that you wanted and that type of thing. So that's kind of where I want to go with it.
Mhm.
I want to take the vehicle system and expand it into boats so we could have pirate ship battles and stuff like that, because I see it as another thing of where you could build a castle or a base, and then you could say, okay, attack me, and then it would attack you with pirates, or it would attack you with monsters or whatever, and so you could sit there and play defend the castle too. So the idea is that it's just like all the different game modes out there.
Yeah, and so now I forgot what I was gonna ask.
Mm, that happens.
But yeah, so I was just typing everyone R matey for the pirate stuff.
Yeah, I
So
mean, the boats could be so cool. Like I say, I really love the game Atlas because the boat fighting in that game is great. And so I really that game was the last game I played in the old kind of genre that kind of spit me into game design in the first place. And so I've constantly kind of been obsessed with having pirate ships and stuff like that. But I'd really love it to be even more like a water world type of thing where you
mhm.
could construct your own boats and come up with your own types of things. That's really what I'm after with it.
And I've noticed a lot of people have been asking me about this game uh, from the Discord as far as if capable of creating your own avatar type thing. Like if you're able to wait, was that the no, you can already do that, can't you?
So yeah, there's Ready Player Me in there, which is of an avatar creation system where you can be pretty much anything you want to be, or any person you want to be, I
Oh,
should
that's right.
say.
This one does have it. I think I was thinking about another one for the
And
character creation. This one does have it.
but I am not. I should say that that is the plugin that's stacked on top of all the other plugins and everything, because I do eventually want to move off to something else.
Hmm.
There's a lot of different options in Unreal for the character creator, and I really want it to be to the point when AI is getting really close to also being able to create skeletal mesh characters straight out of the web that you could drop into the game. So the idea is that eventually you'll be able to kind of create your own, character in AI and then bring it into the game that way as well. So yeah,
I, I,
Ready Player Me does allow you to pretty much play any stylized human character you want, but I definitely want to open it so that you can play anything you want. I really want it so that you could. Unreal can easily do multiple different types of animals now too. So if you wanted to be a dog in it, you could be a dog in it, right? The idea is
Wolf,
that
wolf.
yeah, exactly. But the idea is that if you wanted to have, it's your game. So if you want to play furries in there, then you should be able to do that.
So So I see how you can do all this farming and stuff in it and create all these vegetables and stuff like that, or food, or whichever from there. Uh, by default, it doesn't look like it is set to cause any damage to you or anything if you don't eat. Can you at this time set up it to be a survival game where you have to eat after so long or so forth based on what you eat or
So
anything from that part?
that setting is in the game, and I just have it turned off.
Okay.
So eventually, yes, eventually you'll go into that world panel, and if you want to turn on eating and drinking in your world, you'll have that option.
Now, do you
But
have any options currently in the world panel to be able to enable things, or is that in the future?
that's it. That's in the future. Yeah,
Okay.
that's coming. It's coming very soon. It's on the short list now, but it is in the future still. So there's weather in there and time and spawning and all sorts of cool stuff. So
So you'd be able to do certain types of game types and values, or create your own game type based on those values.
right. Well, so the game types A would be so they'd be selectable, but then also customizable and moddable, and so there would be multiple game types up on Workshop. So
Mm-hmm.
you'd basically pull down a selection of game types for your world. So if you said, "Oh, I'm not going to use any of the racing," so you wouldn't pull any of those racing game types down, but you would use all the survival game types
Mm-hmm.
or whatever all the different game types would basically be, because that's really, game types are much more about limiting things than they
Yeah.
are about enabling things, right? So it's
Yeah.
much more about like, oh, you need a 60-second clock and you need this and you need that. So that's really what it would be, is like, oh, okay.
Would that be separate between the map workshop and the game type workshop,
Yeah,
or would
so
it
well,
be all in one?
the workshop has categories, and map is a category. So then you're also going to have like static mesh category or model category, and that in that category you'll be able to have all foundation pieces and roofs and different things. And then you'll have a gun category where you'll have all different gun modifications that you can have, and power and farming and whatever, foliage, because eventually people will be able to upload a tree and then make that part of their terraformer system, and so they can use that tree, but then everybody else can use the tree too. So again, it's entirely granular, so basically you can put together it in any which way that you want it to put together and modify from that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So stacking creativity is the idea, kind of.
Give me 1 second. So Simon, yeah. So this game is the Unreal Engine. Is it Unreal 5? Wasn't it? Is what I saw you running?
Yeah,
Which
it's
Unreal is
Unreal
this?
5.4.4.
Five point four
And
point four.
it is pretty much the latest core. There's one out now. It's 5.5.3 is out right now, but they had a lot of weird bugs in 5.5
Mm-hmm.
and then 5.1. But yeah, it's been a very stable version of Unreal, and it is the latest one. But DCF is very modular, so we are able to update the Unreal version. So
Okay.
as they hit stable milestones, we will probably update our core, but it's a pretty big process to do it. It's doable, but it's a pretty big process to do it. So we're only going to do it when they hit stable cores. And so 5.4.4 is the last one we've deemed stable.
And so what else would you like to go over at the moment?
Um, I mean, there's a lot in it that I don't know exactly how to kind of illustrate what I'm trying to get across of how open I want it to be. But yeah, it's the idea of this is that eventually you'll be able to create whatever you want to create, but then share it as well. And so it really is stacking creativity on top of creativity. And so
Including
that's that
character models?
yeah, eventually you'll be able to put in your own character models, you'll be able to put in your own enemies, you'll be able to put in, And eventually even your own. So let me clarify. So
Okay.
there's a big AI component there's another whole half of this that I'm kind of developing under the covers because it's using some local AI models. But basically, there's a headless server of this game, and you'll be able to take that headless server and run it, and then it runs in conjunction with a local LLM model that then remembers you as you play it. So every time you come into that world, or anybody comes into that world, it'll know them, and it'll start to be kind of come friends with them. But then it'll also understand how you play. So if you come into the world and it knows that, that you're having a bad day or something, it might put in some funny enemies for you to take out or something like that. It will do automatically stuff to modify your world to be better for
Mm.
you. On top of that, it also has the ability to generate models and textures and that type of thing. So you'll eventually be able to just ask the game for different stuff. So if I said, "Hey, I don't like that rock. Let's change that rock." It could then say, "Okay," and then it comes up with a picture. Or, the drone floats up in the game and has four different pictures of rocks, and you pick one, and then it goes away. And 5 minutes later, or the rock appears in the game. And that's kind of what will eventually happen with this. Is that it has AI capability in the middle of it, and then it also has AI capability on the outside of it. So also very soon, AI models will start to reach into the game as players and be able to build whole worlds at speed. So eventually, that map section of Workshop is going to be full of maps, just huge different maps that AI is creating. And expounding from there,
Mm.
eventually it'll create games as well. So eventually you'll be able to go to a different world, and AI, will have said, "Oh, come by my world," and then you'll go there and you can race there, or you can fight there, or you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, from what I have already seen in this and what we've tested out, and I was trying to create my own map and everything. I'm still working on it and making edits and so forth. I see it as I want to do a dirt track all around it as a circle type thing. Put some ramps in there, whether it's made from the dirt itself or the ramps that you have in there that you can import, and then have like a little portable stadium around it for like benches and stuff, as if you're going for an audience and you're just going up and doing the racing with the bikes and stuff.
And then you can stream that and have all your players come in and race for games, and you know what I
Yeah.
mean. It'd be super cool.
But if I
So.
did that, they'd have to not only get the map for subscribing to it in the workshop, but then they would have to join me as the host because of the saved
Yeah,
profile on it.
if you built in towers or ramps,
Yeah.
like physical ramps, then yeah, then they would need to jump into your hosting. Now they could look at the track on their own. They could
Hmm.
jump in and look at the actual geography of the track anytime they want, and change it and
Yeah.
save it themselves and move it into themselves. So that's another thing is a lot of the things with the maps is, when people say, "Oh, well, it's kind of hard to build out space," it's like, well, just there's go look at the different maps that are on Workshop, because there's multiple maps that have a bunch of ground that's pulled up out already. And
Hmm.
so all you have to do is go in there and modify that map and save it, and now it's yours. So, you don't have to go through the ripping the ground out of the water as much if you don't want to. It's just an option.
And you can't dig through the base of the map. It's building off of that, right? So where you start out, where there's considered the bottom, that is the bottom. There's no digging or blowing up anything below it, right?
No, you can dig below. It'll
Okay.
it'll it'll create, so that's a 0 point, right? So now
Mm.
you're working into negative space, but it'll remember it. So you're
Oh no,
basically
here we go.
you can carve in it, so you can actually, here, let me show you really quick.
Everybody knows my next question. Everybody knows my next question.
What?
My next question is then this. Y'all ready for this? The next question is, So if there's no, so if where you start out, what's ground zero, that's not the limit, and you can dig down further. Is there a limit of how far down you can dig, or does it keep expanding, expanding, or does it get to a point to where it would crash? Like, what if I wanted to just take out the terrain all the way straight down? How far down will that go?
So you're
Oh, wait.
basically
Quick other question on this. If you went on the top of the island and just dug a hole straight down, would there be water, or would it be a empty hole at that point?
yeah,
Unless you
it's
connect it with the water.
there's water when you hit below the water line.
Okay.
So yeah, so as you can see here, I'm in the water,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm digging down, and you can see I'm digging, digging, digging. So
But
it
just how
it
far
can
down can you go?
I you know what I'll tell you that okay how can I
Because a Steam achievement type thing for games like this that you can actually go down or type sort of dig. So you can't actually, can you? Okay, is there a feature in this game to dig as a character rather than removing from the terrain tool with that terrain tool?
what do you mean dig as a character?
So
I'm
like
not sure what you
if
mean
you're
by dig.
if you're in the if you're a character, is there anything like a shovel or so forth that you can actually dig with?
Well, yeah, you can dig with the terraformer. So
Well,
basically,
so
what
the
you would do is
terraformer though is where you're actually that's the terrain thing that you're modifying or so forth. But can you actually dig in the game without modifying the terrain uh tool from that part? Like if someone actually dug in it from there, would it be would could you actually do that in the game without the terrain tool? Like just as a regular
mm,
shovel if you're digging for a cave
no,
type thing.
no,
Okay.
there's no like shovel in it right now. Now,
Yeah.
I have been looking lately at making because we do have that headless server in the middle.
Mhm.
Eventually, we can have it so explosions and stuff like that will definitely put holes in the ground. So you could definitely have craters eventually. And then, like I say, this brush is adjustable. So
Okay.
if you adjust it out a little bit, you can get a bigger tunnel going. But yeah, it digs.
Now, you did
You know,
say though, if using this terrain tool, that does not transfer over to the other players that's in the server at that time. So
at
you
that
may see
time,
one.
yes.
Okay.
Right. So if you're using the terraformer while you're in a multiplayer game, they're not going to see the changes to the
Yeah.
landscape.
So
It only happens here.
one thing that I would suggest to users out there playing this game, especially the 10 that we gave out, is not to really use the terraforming tool when you have the game going live with other people in there, unless it's something that you want to make the change of first, but then in order for them to see it, you're going to need to back out and then go back into it again. Now, do they need to resubscribe? Do they need to go back out to the workshop, or it'll show as, from
So
your
yeah,
local game?
that was another thing I was going to answer for you. Okay, so yeah, like say if I wanted to like that rock is in the way of me building right here,
Yeah.
right? If I wanted to terraform that rock out of the way and build there, I could do that with somebody in the game. That's not going to hurt anything.
So the rock will be
It's
gone.
just
It'll see the rock be removed.
no, they won't. They'll still see the rock sitting there,
Okay.
but it won't matter because when you remove it, you'll be able to build there. So if you're
Okay.
just trying to build something, you can definitely do that. It's not going to hurt now. Now, if you like you were saying with the upload, and you asked about this offline too, so I can answer this really quick.
Okay.
Um, but basically, on that upload on this upload panel, where I love that intro, but I've seen it so many billions of times.
Yeah, press the
Um,
space bar and skip through it already. No, I'm just kidding.
I can't, you can't. It has a certain load for threshold you can't get
Yeah.
past. Anyway, okay. If you share on Workshop, you'll see this is the name of the map and the description, but this is the continent number or the map number.
Mm-hmm.
I got to change that screen. But basically, on Steam, if you go on the Workshop, so like if I go here and I go to Workshop. And I click on one of the maps, you can see up here, that's the map number,
Okay.
right? So if you wanted to update that map, you would come in here into the share on workshop and just pop that number in here And if you own that map, you can now update it.
That was my next question. So would anybody be able to update that map, or would it already see the owner wise of it? So if they
It
put that continent number in there, it would show up as another one, not a duplicate, because I mean not an update, because they weren't the original owner of it, right?
That's correct. Yeah, you
Okay.
have to be the original owner to update a map, but you can
Okay.
update them here so that way. And if you update it, then the next time they come into Steam, it'll just say DCF has an update, and it'll just roll that update when they open the game.
So if they use that number and they're not the owner, would it just create another file in there, or would it say you can't update this or don't have access or something?
Before it said you couldn't, it would just give you an error message. But
Okay.
I'm not sure what it does now. It might create another map. I'll have to double check into that.
Okay.
But yeah, that's definitely this is where this will be where you upload meshes and you'll upload basically everything to the workshop through this same system, right? And then when you go into host, that curtain screen is where it matches up all those files, basically.
And so if you make any changes as far as your model or so forth, are you able to if you at this time, are you able to create your own model, or like turning into like a skin, like a wolf character or dragon or anything like that, or
Well, the avatar thing right now has quite a few different outfits.
but nothing you can
Uh,
upload yourself?
no, not right now.
Okay.
So yeah, basically, eventually that'll happen through the construct, and that is happening through this import wizard here.
Okay.
Um, but the step that I have to spend again, it's only me, so the
Yeah.
problem is mostly time, but right now I have to learn, so I can pull a model in here and look at it,
Yeah, and it's
and
all about setting
then
your priorities of what's the main priority of the game, of adding things in. If it's just an additional like customization feature or so forth, that's not necessarily priority compared to fixing bugs or other things like that.
it depends on, like, right now I'm really hoping to get it to sell with some people and get people playing it, because
Hmm.
the faster I get people playing, or the more I get people playing it, the more I can buy some hardware. And I have some hardware that I want to get for it so that it'll allow the AI to come in and start building game after game after game. Because the minute the AI gets in there, within 48 hours, you're going to have like you're going to have a ton of games in here, right? Like, it's going to be insane. It's going to be how fast it develops stuff. And so it's going to be really wild to watch that happen. So I really want to get to that point. There's also on uh, on the cars is also something I really want to, let's see. Here we go. So if you I still see my screen here, but the car pack actually has a ton more cars in it, that I can get, and motorcycle. Well, there's not a lot of new motorcycles, but there's a ton more cars. There's a fuel system that I can get for it and stuff like that. So I'd like to put that in for the game. But yeah, there's pickup trucks and and cargo trucks and all sorts of stuff, and they're all damageable. I want to get the cars attached so you can shoot them and you can shoot out on them and stuff like that. So those are all the kind of things that I'm after. But the thing is that I'm really hoping to get more and more people into it so I can hear what directions they want it to go. Because again, it right now it's really about trying to get people in and playing it and seeing what the potential is of it.
So from my angle of looking at this, I got into the whole modding community when I was younger, in like Quake and stuff like that, like Quake 3 and so forth. And it was all about being able to share your mods with people. It wasn't about selling or anything like that. You use that for like your projects, for like your little presentation for job offers you were going for and so forth. That was pretty much all you did from that. It just showed your experience. But you would create all that and then want to share it with others and see from that part. And I think the main thing a lot of people that this game would get off of would be the creators that would want to actually create their own vehicles or like change the skins and stuff on it and be able to share that with other people. Same thing with
Yeah.
like models and the lands and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I say, you can see how quick you can put together a whole little world, right? I
Yeah.
mean, with the cube tool, you know, you
And
can.
then so we did this on the stream already where we put all these cubes together and then we turned the smooth tool down to be able to smoothing it all out and get them
Uh-huh.
more together and all that stuff. And it wasn't actually that difficult. So you just set up the base land first and then you just shape it from there and you add or remove and all that stuff.
Right, and then actually so the surface tool,
Hmm.
you can turn that down so you can just paint with different types of surfaces. So now if I refresh foliage, now this becomes that whole type of territory in meadow, right? Like, or if I come here and say, hey, mountain, and I come over here and just paint this, and let me turn the day, but yeah, see how it's changed the landscape here.
Hmm.
And
Can
now
you
if I hit
adjust with
refresh
how many
foliage,
trees and stuff it shows?
so at this point, the biomes are locked in, but again, that's going to be a thing where that's going to be entirely open. You'll be able to set these biomes to whatever you want,
Hmm.
and then come up with whatever you want. But yeah, basically, you can.
Like maybe different values. Like if you want it 100% full, then then it comes out like this. But if you want like less and change the percentage or something, would it then show less trees
Yeah,
and more
you'll be
spread out
actually
more?
able to
Or...
do all of that. You'll be able to pick the trees that are on it, the rocks that are on it, the grass that's on it, and then say, okay, that's layer one. And so, now instead of layer one being sand, it would be whatever you set it to.
Yeah.
And then you could also, if you have a cool like biome, you can also save those to workshop, and so people can download those and share those biomes. So if
Before
you
it's a
said,
really
okay,
oh, go ahead.
yeah, so like if I said, okay, this is my beach biome, right? And somebody came up with one that was way better than that, then you could swap them out.
Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. I got to make sure my son joins his appointment. 1 second. Okay, yeah, he's good. Sorry about that. Go ahead. So
Oh
wait,
yeah,
you can
no,
climb?
yeah, no, that's new. That's in this update. Yeah, yeah, you can now climb.
So in this new update, you're adding a climbing feature. Is that based on the texture or just the just able to
Angle of the
climb anything?
wall.
Angle of the
Yep,
wall?
your angle of the wall. So, I mean, eventually we could set it so it is only on certain textures. So you could have it
Hmm.
like a cliff that you could climb, and then like the sand you couldn't or whatever. But right now it's all of them. So
Okay.
I just wanted to give some vertical mobility. It's one of the things that bothers me most about the game so far is the
Yeah, like how
vertical
I needed to
mobility.
put the ramp up there in order to
But
get
you
up, and
can
now you can
see,
just
like I
climb.
started. That was 30 seconds ago. I started with that little island in the middle, and now I'm rock climbing. So it's pretty slick that way.
So, but Baleris says about maybe a toggle to keep the timer the time slash day at a certain level for building ease or so forth. But
Yep.
what we just showed on here, you have it set where you can change the clock on it from there of earlier in the day or so forth. Can you pause the time of day?
Right now you cannot pause. I can definitely put that in. I didn't think that that would be something that people would want, but yeah, I can definitely put that in. So
So
I'll
some
definitely
games
put
have it
that.
out there where, like, let's say PUBG. Okay, I'm not trying to push this whole thing as FPS or anything like that, but I'm just using it as an example, as that's one of our main games we play. But you'll have it where that map, when you start it and you play it for that 30 minutes or so forth, that map, that whole entire time frame is that daylight or the sunset or the nighttime type bit of the map or so forth. But you can
Right.
change this as you go through in there live. So if you're hosting the server and you change it to thunderstorm or so forth, does the other character see the thunderstorm?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. That's all synced.
So that's still in sync. That's still synced in live. Okay, unlike the landscaping part or so forth, the terraforming. So terraforming
Yeah.
is the only thing that's not sync.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's one thing that was noted in here by Belarus. Belarus, did you have a copy already? I believe you do, don't you? As far as being able to pause the time frames and stuff like that. Yes, he does have. He is one of the ones that got a copy. So that's one of the questions he had on it from that part, as far as maybe suggesting for that to be able to lock the time in. You can at the moment scroll it through to be able to do so. Uh, I mean, just scroll it back repeatedly from that. But if that gets as a bit to where you're getting annoyed of it or anything like that, that would be one thing some people would want in there, to be able to just lock it at that time frame for the whole thing.
Yeah. That's definitely easy to do. So I'll definitely do that. That's not a problem at all.
I see you dropping balls. Did you set up anything for the feature for that to be able to kick them or anything, or?
Not yet. It is. I'll show you this though. Hold on. Uh, it's kickball. It's on the list. So it's not quite there yet, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely want to do that. So I mean,
And
it's
again,
still
oh, go ahead.
they react physically, right?
Yeah.
So if you dig a pit, they'll drop in it and roll down.
See what you just did? Now I want that tool, the landscaping tool thing, to be really, really small, almost like a pipe size type bit, and then make one of those marble things to where you get the ball and it has to fall in this order to fall to this, to fall to that, to trigger the whole thing like a
You
domino
could do
effect.
that. You could totally do one of those machines, like a marble machine or something like that. Yeah.
And then I would
Because
want
like I
like
say,
a bubble
this brush is
tunnel.
sizable, so you can tunnel with it. You know.
Do we have like a see-through terrain texture, sort of like if you wanted to make a see-through tube or something?
No. If you want to go see through, you just kind of keep pushing, and like I say, it'll make holes. It makes
Well,
arcs and stuff like that. If
Well, I
that's what
mean,
you.
like if we wanted to set it up, like let's say the ball's going down a whole path to get to this and get to that, where you just dig a tunnel straight through something, or make it almost like a pipe texture, to like a pipe. Would you be able to have some type of skin, like a window texture type bit, to be able to see through it?
Um. I. So you had mentioned that you didn't like the white, and so I've been trying to figure out how to do that. Maybe I could make that see through. But look, you can tunnel with it.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is, so like let's say we set up a whole tunnel. Maybe I even want to set up a tunnel as a race, that you drive through the tunnels with with the motorbikes, but I don't want the whole mountain around it. I want it to be like pipes that you're driving through, where you can see from outside of that if someone was just watching, and you would see through it.
Oh,
Do
okay.
you
I
have
see
it
what
to
you're
where
saying.
the
No.
outside texture terrain, that you could set it up almost like a window thing, where you can see through the glass of it, or whatever material you have that as, almost like a hamster pipe, where you can see
Yeah.
through it from there, is what I'm
I
talking
do
about.
not have that. Yeah, I do
Okay.
not have that right now. But yeah, that's a good idea. That's an
See, my
excellent
brain's
thought.
going all over the place.
But
I'm
that's the
going
thing
down another
is that,
rabbit hole.
like I say, this stuff is so valuable to me because and I love that the rocks move too. But this stuff is valuable to me because this gives me a better way of looking at it. So, like I say, I've
Yeah.
been in a bubble for a really long time with this thing, and I needed to get out for sure. So,
So
but yeah, like I
everybody
say,
out there, hang on, sorry, one second. Let me just talk community for a second. So everyone out there that has this game, this is what we really want you to do. I already have a contest out there to create your own map, and the first two that actually create a map that actually is customizable, where you did some work on it from that part, gets a free game out there. You just got to show me proof that you uploaded it. But we want you to be able to play with the game more, and design a map. And as you come up with these things that you want to do, that you see any type of limitations, there's nothing wrong with then throwing it out there as a suggestion for an update or so forth, and then that will directions for this game of where you'd want to get it going from that part. And if he agrees
Yeah.
with it from there, he can add it in there. If he doesn't, then he doesn't. But you can always say in there of what you would like to do with the game, and he can then tell you if it's possible. But you
I
got
think
to get
it's
started by uploading by trying to create a map, seeing what you can and can't do, and then upload it out there to share in the workshop, and then see what else we can add on to it or fix. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, like I say, I think I can pretty much I can probably come up with a good play solution for anything that people want. It's just about first off, it's a big mostly it's been about my time. So of
Yeah.
course I haven't had much time to do everything I wanted to do. But yeah, you can see, man, I can make a world that's just like unlike anything that you've ever seen. And that's just a couple minutes of work. So
As you just did that, taking down the landscape, I'm thinking like World of War, a big old robot type thing walking through, demolishing everything as you see the trees falling down.
yeah,
Sorry, go
but
ahead.
you totally do that, right? Like that's all possible in this thing. And it's it's got as quick as you're in one environment, you can now I'm in a techno environment,
And
That's
you got
what's
to
cool to
refresh
me.
foliage after you do that, right?
Well, okay,
Or is it
so
only
yeah,
certain ones?
only certain ones carry foliage. So if you
Okay.
have if you have a terrain that has foliage, then you hit refresh foliage and you'll get the foliage in. But if it doesn't have it, then it doesn't have it. Now again, eventually you'll be able to customize that. So you'll have 50 layers that have foliage or 50 layers that don't, or but they'll be more like what you want it to be. So I think people will probably get more specialized and themized and like I want all stylized pieces or I want all line art pieces or whatever. So,
So what's
but
going to be in this next patch that you release after this stream?
yeah, this stream. So yeah, we've got the new parachute. I still got to adjust the position, so it's kind of stupid anyway. But okay, we've got the ramp building system, so all the different ramps. The car customizer is a build part now, so you can just drop that in a level. The cable save power is a long-standing bug, so I know it's not probably for big for people, but for me, it's like the biggest one. And then the cube tool. So now you can see the preview of the cube tool. The import mesh level now has an out button, so you can go back to the construct without shutting down the game. I updated the real-time audio plugin, so eventually that's going to be the plugin where you hit a key and you talk to the game and it'll be able to transverse that into text and then push it into the AI. And then world climbing, you saw that, you noticed that, where you can now climb up on the side of cliffs. And then I was going to do some reworking on the grenades in C4, but we didn't really get to too much of that. So
Yeah.
we'll probably move on to the next one on that one. But like I say,
Okay.
I've always kind of seen it as like we could have ambassadors for each different thing. So if you really know everything about guns, then that's the type of person I want to do the gun part of the game. And so, oh, okay, yeah, I'm the guy that knows everything about the guns, and then I'll teach you every subsystem of the game. So eventually, I'd like ambassadors for different parts of the game, so it's not
Hmm.
just me. Um, and and because I can remote people into the actual editor environment, they can actually learn and work on the game too. So it's also an opportunity to be part of an actual community of building games too.
Yeah. As far as just on the knowledge wise itself, or even developer aspect of it, or
All of it, because basically the game is built open, and so you can see exactly through our behind the scenes series on YouTube, you can see exactly how the game was built.
mm,
And if it, I mean, if you become a modder that is well respected in the community, then yeah, I'll give you time on the editor, and you'll actually be able to work on the core of the game.
yeah, because we actually have several programmers in the community here that do some gaming stuff, and I also know some. I run into a lot of single dev games and stuff, so I build up relationships with that as well from there. Give me 1 second. Go ahead and set up anything else you want to show on here. I
Well,
have to make sure my son's in his appointment real quick. Give me 1 second.
yeah, no problem.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm good now. His televisit just started, so we're good. Go ahead.
That's good. Yeah, but basically the idea is that it gives an open platform for gaming, but also an open platform for developers. So because it's a source Unreal Engine, it allows me to make copies of the game. So when I have a developer remote in, they
Hmm.
have their own copy of the game. They literally can do whatever they want with it and play with it and see whatever happens with it. And then if they break something, they don't have to worry about it, which a lot of developers really love, because here they get
Yeah.
to play with really sophisticated game world. And then if they break it, it's like, oh well. And then I just reload a copy of it, and they start again. And then the main copy of it, basically, we kind of all work together to make sure that every step we take is less and less bug free, right? Or
Yeah.
less. So as it goes, it just becomes better and better and better is the hope. But yeah, there's a ton of developers out there. And so the idea behind DCF was also to make it that if a developer wants to come in and look at it from the back end and help us that way, they can do that as well.
Now you said that you were looking to set up for the C4 and the nade stuff for this update. Did you want to spend some time and go over that now to work on that to see what changes to make,
We can
or
take it.
where
Yeah,
did
we
you
can take a
go?
look at it.
Where would you say that we went with based on what we discussed so far?
Well, it's more about time on your side. It's not
Yeah, I
mine.
got
Like
it extended already at this point. I went ahead and made sure my son's on his appointment. That was the main thing. And then if they need to call me over, then I'll run over there real quick. But otherwise, we're good.
okay, all right. Yeah, so okay, so basically, let's see what's
Because the main thing here is you're wanting to send out an update today. So any things that you want to make changes on or so forth, and want our opinions on, or anything from that part, we're ready for it right now. If you want to
yeah, I mean,
just pull it up.
I can make reasonable changes. I can make them pretty quickly. So that's exactly it is.
Yeah, so you
So
put the
this
C4
basically
thing down. I want you to multiply it by 10 if you place multiple all at the same time, and I want the whole map to go boom. No, I'm just kidding.
mm, yeah, I'm definitely gonna figure out more of it, because the one thing is, okay, so it seems to be doing damage on an array. Uh, Not a container. Okay, grenade. So looks like most of your damage is done here, but the range I think is handled somewhere else.
Yeah, so it was all about the range and then how much it actually affects the character.
Right. Well, the affected character is right here, right? So
Hmm.
if we turn the minimum damage up to, different areas, and it hits in that area, because it does have the ability to do like headshots and stuff like that, then you can do that. The projectile speed is how fast the actual blow up happens. And then I'm trying to figure out.
You would think the nade or explosion wise should do the same damage to the entire body on it from that point, just based on the distance. So then you would, the question would be, can you adjust the damage based on the distance?
So
Or
let's
would it
see.
just be one straight out thing from there?
No, I mean, we can definitely, there's definitely going to have to be some kind of collision system that's telling the
Yeah.
grenade where to push out its damage to.
Yeah.
So we just need to figure out where that collision system exists, and then we can kind of go from there. So
Because like with PUBG, it does like just a bubble of damage range, right? And as as you go further out from the nade, it then does less damage. So it's not like it's gonna go 10 meters out from the item, and everywhere 10 meters out is gonna do 100 damage. It lowers down as it then goes with the distance. Is that doable in this game?
yeah, I mean, it's definitely doable. As to where to do it, that's what I'm trying to
Okay.
track down. So.
And you're okay with all this showing on here right now, right?
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
That's the whole idea of this game, is that it's entirely open. If you go through our behind the scenes series, it
Mhm.
will show you exactly how we put it all together. you can put it together yourself with just the information that you get from those videos, but it costs a lot of money.
What, the apps and stuff?
Yeah, the plugins. So
Yeah.
Voxel, the landscape plugin, is $750 to get
Ouch.
into. The cars are pretty expensive. Just like everything has its own price. It's the way
Yeah.
it is. Building a whole world with not what most people do in this. They think that that's probably crazy. So a lot of people have told me I'm nuts for trying to.
Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Kinda, yeah. You can't really blame them either because
Yeah.
they're not wrong. It's kind of a
Well,
stupid idea.
I think the whole
You
thing on it is the fact that it can do you can go out to directions on so far that in some cases you then need to find certain ones to focus on at a time, because you're trying to do everything all at once, and then all of a sudden this is it's okay, it's not 100%, or this one's better than the other. You want to try to be able to equal it all out.
Right, exactly.
Let's see
I
who's
may
all
need
in
to
here.
look a little deeper to figure out why my where where those are. I know that those settings exist. I've messed with them before. Well, I haven't messed with them before, but I know they exist. Uh, hmm. Did you have any questions or anything about the game or what its capabilities are?
Way too many.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. So inner radius, outer radius,
Okay,
and then minimum damage and maximum damage.
there we go.
So we can set this. So let's say the inner radius to 500,
Okay,
and then we'll set the outer radius to 1500. We'll set the max damage to 100 and the minimum damage to 50.
okay.
And that should make the grenade quite a bit beefier. So
And then you would do a similar thing to the C4 bit, but
exactly.
you want
Yeah,
to then
we'd go back we'd go into the wherever I
is
found
this
that. Yeah.
instant on the change, or do you have to compile it or something first?
Well, I mean, I'll be doing a final compile before it goes
Okay.
up to Steam, but yeah,
Well,
the
no, I
compile.
meant like right now if you wanted to test it, is it instant to
Oh
be
no,
able to
yeah,
test
well,
it out there to
yeah,
test the damage?
yep. One second,
Okay.
I'll just pull it up here.
Sorry.
No, yeah, absolutely. What's the point if we can't test the
Yeah.
damage? Jesus.
It's like, come on, we gotta make something go boom, make it go boom, make it go boom. Now, is that only on the character damage that you just modified, or is that also
No,
a
that's
damage
everything.
towards
That's
okay,
overall damage and
okay,
overall radius. That's what I was looking for. Is that character damage is cool and everything, but that's not really what I was looking for
yeah.
there. All right, so now we've got some grenades.
Now, based on the
Holding.
damage that it does for those items, uh, is certain materials or certain items can that take more damage than others? Like if it's a type of metal type thing, or
Uh, oh, it got me there. I must have like quite a bit of health or something, huh?
yeah, and that's what I was thinking about on it from that part, because with the when we were gunfighting and so forth with it, it seemed like you had 300 health. So is it not the fact that the nade does enough damage or not? Is it the fact of how much health you have as the
It could
character?
be. Yeah, it definitely could be. Definitely could be. Definitely could be.
Because then your choices are: do you want to just set the nade to do more damage, or just set a limited amount of health on your character, and maybe then you can adjust it if you
Well,
put anything on it,
eventually
or what?
health will be adjustable, right?
Okay.
So that one's more about that, but it seems like that's not quite the grenade that I want. I don't know.
The, what, you think that it didn't actually make the change where you changed the
It
value?
feels like, yeah, it doesn't feel like it did. Let's
Okay.
see, that's a static mesh. So what I'm gonna do now is see. I want to track down the actual mesh it's using, or the actual one it's using. See, oh, it did. Yeah, no, that's the one. Oh, there's time to explode too, so you can set that right there.
See, don't get me started on details with an aid, because then I may tell you, now we need a cooking. Now you need to be able to enable the cooking timer on it to cook it for 5 seconds, and
Throw velocity we can change.
Mhm.
So debug mode, you can set your like how fast you can run with a grenade. I mean, it
Yeah.
has everything, dude. You can, and eventually all these options are exposable to the players as well, right? So you'll be able to set these all up. But basically, yeah. So
Yeah, if we can set
basically,
this up ourselves, so if we could have an option within the game to set this up, whether it's when we create the server, or like whenever we select to host the server, or if it's in a config file or something. I mean,
no, you just do it on this level right here,
yeah.
on this
Okay.
construct level. You'd set it up to how you want it, and if it's on this level that way, then it will be in your world that way. Does that make sense? So
So like when you host it, or when you're on that map itself.
okay, so there's your damage right now,
Okay.
right? You see that debug box,
Yeah.
and I also turn the explosion up, so that's what's getting damaged in that area.
In this update, are you turning off the debug logging that kept showing up on the top left?
Uh, in the places I can find it, yes.
Okay.
There's a couple places over like years ago that it's gotten shut off or shut on, and so I don't know exactly where all of them are. So
Okay.
I work through them.
Okay.
So if that makes sense.
Now, for some of us that want to help
Where
you
did
out and
that
stuff
debug
like
go?
that, are we gonna have like a debug? Is there like a debug command or an option you would have for that, so we could then collect logs, or what?
So the logs that are pertinent will be able to be collected. Right now, there isn't too many that I'm collecting.
Okay.
Because most of the errors that I've seen, at least, um, are stuff I know what it is.
Okay.
Um, so at this point, it hasn't been necessary yet to gather the logs, but there is logs that I can gather.
Okay.
And actually, there's actually a back end AI system that will also keep track of your logs and errors and stuff like that too. So
Okay.
it'll basically keep track of the performance of your system in your world and be able to kind of use AI to help you track a lot of that stuff.
So
But yeah.
there's the nade. What did that just do? It looked like it just puffed at you.
Oh, it's hurting me. It's hurting me
Yeah.
right now. It's just probably takes three of them. Yeah.
So
So we could kick it.
you don't have anything in the game that if you get hit with something, there's like a flash or a blood or show like an effect to a character.
Yeah. Okay. So anything can take a decal of a hit, and
Hmm.
that's how Unreal does a hit. So it basically just puts a decal where it hit. And so yeah, you can do that on this. I believe the characters already take a decal, and the building pieces already take a decal. So
Okay.
if you shoot a building, um, give me the ammo. Okay. So now if I come up here and um,
Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
no problems.
Okay. He is done. I am completely open on time now. Sorry
I
about
think
that.
that
Dad duties.
I've got two of them myself, man. I understand. Given they're in their 20s now, so it makes it much easier.
Yeah.
beef these up one more time and see if this is working correctly. But yeah, you could see we can just duplicate that grenade and then set different ones, and so and different animations, right? So
Hmm.
like, if right now it's doing the big fire, thing, but you could have it do a different one, like a magic one, or whatever. There's a billion different effects out there that we could definitely put in the system.
Or
Ah,
you
there
turn it
you go.
into or you turn it into a magic potion, and then whenever it hits right in front of the enemy then turns into a animal or something. No, I'm just kidding.
You could totally do that. No, but that's the thing. That's the thing. That is not far out there at all. That's totally doable. In fact, we're definitely wanting to work in a prank system so that you can like put a rocket on somebody's back and shoot them off into the sky and stuff like that. Because
Wizard with
there's
a wizard
definitely
wand turn him into a frog.
exactly. But the game engine can do all of that. So why wouldn't we allow people to do it, right? So okay, well, I think the grenade is pretty good now. So
Okay.
let's take a look at
And you wanted to do the C4 next then?
the C4. Yeah, well, why not?
Okay. So
Well,
the
why
C4
not?
the C4 you would expect it to do a farther range damage from what we know from games. I'm talking game wise, not like live weapon type bit or so forth. It also depends on how much you have in the C4, but as far
So
as for the C4
I
device
think
itself, we
it's
expect that to do a
important that
slightly larger range than grenade. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, but it's important that I mention that, like, I'm a big believer in, like, okay, I have a big pet peeve, like in survival games, when you see a survival game or PUBG, right? And
Hmm.
you have an extra M16 and you have that on the side of your backpack. Okay. And then sometimes you have an axe or another M16 on the other side of your backpack.
Hmm.
Now, I was in the army. I've been around a lot of survival stuff, and I live in Utah, so I know hunters and I know all of that. I have never ever seen anybody carry a rifle like that, except my buddy Joe, and we gave him shit about it all weekend because it's like, dude, get that rifle off your back. How fast can you even shoot something? It's going to take you an hour and a half. You know what I mean? So it's like when they do things like that, and it's like, look, it's more realistic because you have a rifle on your back. No, it's not. That's not how you carry a rifle. You carry a rifle in a sling around you. And no, you don't carry two. And if you do carry two, the other one's not accessible. You know
Nah,
what I
nah, nah.
mean? So
See,
it's
man,
like,
nah, you're talking all wrong. You're talking all wrong. We play PUBG. We're PUBG pros. Watch me right now. I'll have a Car 98 on my back where I can still run with it. It's not going to be stabbing me in my leg at all right? I'll have it on one shoulder and I have the other one. I'll have the M16A4 with those bursts on. I'll shoot and then I'll real quick just I'll have a strap around it. I'll just flip it over to my other shoulder, take the other one, the Car 98, take it off my shoulder, aim, zoom with that scope, boom, pop it back over to the other shoulder, pick back over. I got this. See?
I
I'm just
and
kidding.
and you know what? If you're not in PUBG, I would really love to see that. Like, you want to come out to Utah? I've got some rifles. We'll strap them onto your back. You show me how you do that,
Yeah,
right? Because I don't think that's possible.
I'll
So,
probably accidentally
but
shoot
that
my toe
but that's
because I'm
always
flipping
been
it.
my frustration, is
Yeah,
that video games chase realism by being completely unrealistic. And
yeah.
it's like, listen, you don't ride a motorcycle by hitting a button. And that's simple as that, right? So there's no such thing as realism, and DCF acknowledges it's digital. It's not a real world. And so we have benefits because of that, but we also have downfalls because of that. And so but that's the thing, is so that's why that if you look on DCF, there's no, yeah, you don't see like models and you don't see
Hmm.
the backpacks and stuff like that, because I think that's ridiculous. It's like, well, I have a backpack on. Yeah, you're carrying like 5,000 pounds worth of shit. You're telling me that you're just walking around like it's nothing? It's like, that's not how we imitate
well,
realism.
well, certain games, if you have a
If
certain
you
amount
want
of
it to
weight or
be
so forth, it
real,
will affect
then
your
let's
character's movement.
Sure, but and even in this game, I can make it affect your movement. But it's the point is it's like, look, if you're trying to make it feel more realistic, that's not the way to do it. Not in my book. Right? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it should feel like you're doing it, and not necessarily that you're actually doing it. So yeah. Anyway, that's just me going off on my own
Yeah,
shit.
if I'm trying to remember how long ago this was, but it was something like almost 21 years ago or something like that, maybe a little less, maybe 20. But I remember when I played Call of Duty back then, the original ones, Call of Duty 1, Call of Duty 2, and all those. And so I went on a road trip from Texas to Georgia to Florida like 20 times. And one of the things I stopped at was a fellow clan member at the time where we wanted to fire real guns as ones that we did in Call of Duty and stuff like that. So we actually had what weapon was that? It was a the carbine or something like that, and then we had some pistols that matched within the same models. We had like a World War II or World War I rifle and stuff that we actually fired up on the rifle range. And yeah, there's a difference.
Absolutely.
I,
Absolutely.
I think whenever I shot at the time, I noticed my main thing is it's all about how you grip onto the trigger or so forth. If you end up pulling it, you're obviously not going to hit where you're at. And so as instead of adjusting on that, I would just calculate where my pull is, and I would just aim that distance opposite of it, and then I would get the bullseye target. I just still had to work on that whole thing with the pulling the trigger without pulling my aim.
Right. Yeah, that makes complete sense actually.
So you can adjust one or the other. There you go.
All right, so I just adjusted the C4 to be
All right, so we got that C4.
significantly more powerful.
Is it gonna bust a
This
hole
should
in
kill
the
me.
ground?
That killed
Okay,
me.
now do it again, but step one big white square out. How far range do you have this right now?
It's oh, whoops. I gotta I gotta reload the level. Huh?
So did you put this as four of the solid white squares, or six, or eight, or what?
It's
Or nine all around? Three, three, three?
let's see. I think I set the radius was 1500 on the grenade, and I set this one to 2500.
Now, what's the
So
measurements based on these squares as far as
probably
the bold square?
I'm probably still not safe here.
Now let's see how far back that goes.
Well, I mean, we can change that, right? Like we can
Yeah.
set that to whatever you want. Here, I wonder if we can
So for something like
go
that,
to
it
parameter
looks
values
like it
here.
would be something more of like I was saying, roughly maybe the three square, the either the three squares all around or four, something around
Well,
there,
here,
three or
let's
four.
just turn on the debug mode on it really quick and we can
Okay.
see. Because
Okay.
then it'll
Yeah,
show us the
that
little
range thing
dome.
you were talking about, where it'll show that dome. Yeah.
hmm I also made the animation bigger now, too.
Yeah.
So you should be able to see. But now we should be able to see from.
So, oh, I thought you were enabling the
Oh,
range. I didn't see it.
I did. Oh, wow. Look at that. That's how big
Oh,
it is.
oh, maybe a little too. All right, maybe that's a little too big. So that's why I was
You
asking
think?
you. That's why I was asking you. What is the measurement for those whites, the white bold lines? Not the small ones, but the white bold ones. What's the
What?
measurements of that? How far out is that? The squares.
Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Okay.
So if we set this to 1500, like the grenade, then we can reset it off and see.
And expand from there or whichever. So
Yeah,
now we're
basically.
now we're gonna start talking about whether or not the grenade was too far. But we could
Well,
start out
yeah.
with this.
Well, we can let's start with this and then
Yeah.
set it. So I had basically the C4's damage is if you're anywhere within it, you're probably gonna die. So
So where is that circle?
so the circle about to blow here. Here we go. Oh God, it's still out of ways. Okay,
Yeah.
but that's pretty good, wouldn't you say, or not?
Hang on,
Or would you say make it
I'm trying to
smaller?
see it because at some points I can see the red lines and other points I can't.
Okay, hold on. Let me actually do this. Oh no, it doesn't have a prevent. Shit. Okay. So they disappear after a while is the
Okay.
problem. Um, actually, let's turn this down to like say 1,000.
750 or okay.
I'd say 1,000 for
1,000.
this. I dropped it 1,000 last time, and that felt like it got a pretty. I mean, it's still big, but I mean, in the end, bigger explosions better, right? But
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I mean, I know exactly what's going to happen now. Is I'm going to get into this and
So
build
I
like
don't
8
see.
different bombs in here.
Yeah. So I don't see.
Okay,
So
you see the lines now. So this is
yeah,
the
can you walk
outside
into the
wall.
center?
Yeah, this is the center of it.
Okay. Yeah, that right there seems more reasonable.
Okay. So do you think the grenade should probably be in
Grenade
that
should be
same
grenade should be either a two uh what's the
like
measurement something
750?
here? Yeah, like 750 between 500 to 750 based on that.
Let's do the grenade at
So
750 and
let's
see
see what
what
the
it
750 is and
does.
if it's too far out or not. Y'all can respond here in the chat and tell us if this is going to be too far out for the nade or if we need to lower it down some or not.
See, isn't this neat? You're actually creating game mechanics here.
So here's the distance for the nade we're doing right now.
Okay,
Okay.
that's not too bad.
Throw it at your feet.
Well, here.
Well, okay, so I see that. So step into the. All right, so sorry. Throw the nade again. After it blows up, step in the center there so we can see all around it where it goes. Oh, you can do it right now. Just step in the center. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So after it blows up, step in the center and let's see that distance of where it went.
It looks pretty good to me, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to confirm right now. It looks decent enough. We're just trying to confirm it.
But yeah, now I want to do, add like. Here, I'll even show you here in a minute. But
Rocket launcher, Panzerfaust.
we could do all of that. We could do all of
All right,
that.
now
Okay.
step right there in the center. Let's look at those lines. Yeah, that right there is reasonable.
Okay. All right. So.
And so as it expands out from that, it's based on how much damage is done as you're further away from it.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yep. So if you're right in the middle, you're done.
So y'all know what that means? Now, after this is updated, we get to make stuff go boom!
Right, yeah. No.
Now, from what you think on that part, does that make enough of a difference between the nade now and the C4, or does that
I think
250
so.
distance?
Yeah, I think that's a big difference now, and C4 is still plantable, right? So that's different. But yeah, right now, like on the C4, I can. What do you think of the timing? Would you want that to be different? Right now, it's
So
7 seconds.
you know, honestly, I think the 7 should be fine on it from that part. You don't want to put everything as other games like
Mm-hmm.
like in PUBG it's 16 seconds. No, not for C. Yeah, that was for C4. It's 16 seconds. But I
Jesus.
mean, what would you uh, in general, isn't it just whatever you set it for? If it's like a C4 or so forth, it's just whatever timer you put on it, right?
That's the thing is that eventually I want it that it's C4 the way that C4 would be, which would be yes, you could either set it on a timer or you could set it on a button where you
Yeah.
walk away and remote detonate it. So yeah,
Yeah.
we'll definitely have to have the ability to remote detonate it. But yeah, I can totally add that. I
Yeah,
mean, that's
I
really
think
not
7
that.
default. I think 7 default is fine. What do y'all think out there, everybody? Do y'all think 7 seconds for the counter of the C4 is doable? I mean, the main thing I think you also have to think of is once you hear that C4 going off, or once you hear so when you place the C4 in the game, do you hear any sound like it beeping or anything?
Yeah, it's got to
What
be to
so
it.
once you hear that go off, I think you need to have enough time to be able to run out unless you're pinpointed in that spot. So you need to make so the second you hear it, you need to be able to start running out. So if you hear it and you're right on it at the center, that character needs to have maybe twice that amount of time to be able to run out of the circle.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, we're getting responses in the chat here now. It says, yeah, it's all right for the 7, some say. And then the other one says planted C4 cannot be exploded by shooting at it, please. So they say, please
Oh,
do not set it where you could shoot at it to set it off.
then now I'm definitely going to add that as an option. Sure.
See
um,
what you did, Alex? Now it's going to be an option.
yeah, no, now you can't give me a suggestion like that. That's like, of
He
course
says,
I'm going to
don't
do
do
it.
it. No, don't do it. It's going to be done. But
So
see,
the grenade is 3 seconds to explode. Is that good? Do you
okay,
think that's good?
we're used to most of the games as a 5 second. But we also get the ability to cook it and all that stuff on it from there. So as a default, most of us gamers are used to 5 seconds. But
Okay.
again, it's whatever you set it for the game on it from that part. Now, if we have these abilities to do it in the future, make changes or so forth, that's great on that as well, as far as setting it for whenever we host a server, and then or we'll have our own
Oh
config
yeah.
to put into it or so
Yeah.
forth. But as a
Exactly.
default, so what we're talking about right now, everybody, is as a default. So
Right.
this would be the default settings, and then from what the dev's telling us right now, it's it will be you did say that would be customizable in the future or no?
Oh yeah. So basically, look. Okay. So you can see here. This is the explosion effect. And eventually you'll be able to say, okay, I want my grenade to have a different explosion effect. I
Hmm.
want my grenade to use a different explode sound or a different countdown
Yeah.
sound or all the different damage and all of that. You'll be able to set all of these things and all custom and bring them all in. Now, the explosion effects mostly need to come from something called Niagara effects, but there's actually like runtime tools to create effects too. So you
Mm.
could literally like make your own effects in there as well. So yeah, yeah, all of that stuff would be customizable is the idea behind it.
Yeah, give me 1 second. So Alex, what do you think of this game so far? Is this your first glance at this game, Alex? Do you think you could build something off of this, as far as like as far as making a map and be able to play around with it and stuff? If you had a chance, do you think you'd be able to create a custom map on this and upload it to the workshop? And would you be interested in doing that? Well, I already had a problem with the stream today pulling up keys prior, so I don't want to accidentally show it on there. But guess what I'm about to do? I'm putting you on my list right now, and I will send you a key after this. And let's see what you can do out there. Now, remember, an update is going to be coming out. He says probably after this, like an hour or two after the stream or so forth, or whatever, from whatever he does for compiling
Yeah,
and stuff.
probably be about an hour. I just I like to
Shortly
compile it.
after the stream, not like right away, but normally shortly after the stream, he'll probably test it and everything first. Hang on.
I'm stoked that we were able to work those grenades after all.
And if you're not already in our Discord, Alex, exclamation Discord, there's the link. So you can also DM me through there as well once you're in the server wise. But we can definitely even share our work in there. At the very bottom in Discord, there's a section for showing off your own screenshots and stuff like that. So you can create things and put them all in there. You're already there? Okay. So you can actually then even share that in the Discord. And if we have enough people interested in this and posting pictures just of this game and screenshots and stuff and links to their maps that they upload into the workshop on Steam, then we'll even create a section just for it in Discord. So if we get enough people interested in this, there's all sorts of things we can do with this. So like right now he's actually pulling up the map that I made, the NAG test gravel track. So what you do with this game is once you have the game on there installed, you can actually go in there and subscribe and workshop and to that map, and then that it pulls that map for you, so you can actually then load it up and even add on to it and turn it into your own map. So I have a challenge out there right now for people to make their own map and upload it out there. And the first two that get a map uploaded out there then also gets a random free Steam key from me from the list that I have. So you can't just put a dot in there and upload it. I'm not going to allow that. You got to actually put some type of work into it to form out your terrain and everything for it, where we could then even just play into it and subscribe ourselves to then play to that map.
Hmm.
So yeah, we got enough people responding in here on it, and so there's definitely some interest on it from that part. So I'm sorry, I went off onto that other topic. So where else are we at right now?
Um, like I said, I'm getting ready to probably. I'll go ahead and start doing the compile on this and
Okay.
getting it ready for the upload. I want to get it out to everybody so that they
So
can
we got
start.
the C4, we got
Yep.
the nade.
Yep.
As far as health damage in general to the player.
So
So
I upped those. So originally the grenade was 5 to 50. I upped it to 50 to 100.
yeah.
So it's a heck of a lot more powerful. And then the C4 is even more powerful. It's
So
two or it's 100 to like 200. So it'll
so
do damage to buildings and stuff like that too. Because you can knock down
yeah.
buildings in the game as well.
But both items are an instant kill if you're standing directly on it, right?
Pretty much, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And so
Yep.
the main thing that I was noticing in this though is we were talking about of how many shots it takes and stuff with the pistols and going at it with each other is the human health itself accurate, or is that to be lowered and then readjusted for the weapons?
Well, okay, so basically it's more about achieving a balance one way or another,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
I don't mind that the character might have 200 health points. It just makes it more granular, but then the weapons have to be able to,
Do
a
enough
gun,
damage, and then you
a
got to do it all
pistol.
across the board. So it's
Exactly.
which is it that you want to make the adjustment to first? Do you make it towards the weapons, or do you make it towards the character first and then adjust the weapons based on that?
I think because the weapons are going to be the ones that are by native adjustable, we should make
Hmm.
the weapons adjustable. Because
Okay.
the health on the character, we want it to be that it can also eventually be adjustable, so they'll be able to eat a super fruit and turn into
Yeah.
a more powerful agent for a little while or whatever. Because you can literally give them superpowers or whatever you want to do, really.
Does the character take any damage to crashing into a wall or any terrain?
So currently, there is fall damage built into the system. I have it turned off right now.
Okay.
But
And
that one I keeps coming back to. I want to turn it back on because the parachute and stuff like that is all cool, but it doesn't really do anything right now. So, but yes, there is fall damage in the system. It's just not turned on.
now the
So,
parachute when I'm
and
jumping. Oh, go
eventually,
ahead. Sorry.
eventually it would be an option for the player on the world menu whether you have fall damage or not, right?
Yeah. Now the parachute, what all control do we have with the parachute? Because I notice whenever I'm trying to control where I'm going to from that part, it just spins around like the sensitivity. You just spin too much in a circle. Is
Yeah,
there
so
any?
for the parachute, what you basically the way that it works is you turn it to the direction that you want to go and you push forward into that direction.
Okay.
So basically your A and your D key are going to make it turn left and right, and then when you hit your W key, you'll fly in that direction,
Yeah.
in the direction that you're facing.
So
Is
what was
how
I doing wrong where it would just spin around in circles really fast?
probably hitting the A and or the D key or so
Just
basically you
holding it down too
position
much,
yourself.
too sensitive.
Yeah, you basically position yourself with A and D. And as soon as it comes up here, I'll show you. But you
Okay.
basically position yourself with A and D, left and right, and then you hit forward and backwards to just control the forward and backwards of it. So it's just it's the control matrix is just a little different than what you normally do, but it actually matches the parachute a little bit better, of how a parachute works. But
And sorry
again,
about going on. Oh, go ahead.
no, no. Again, the biggest thing with parachute right now is that it's in the wrong position. It bothers the hell out of me. But other than that,
Yeah. And sorry about going in all sorts of areas with this game or so forth. But since I have you here right now, this is where it's like, okay, so I've already tried this, and this is what I have questions on with this and that. And then we also have people responding in here that's interested in it as well. So trying to throw all the questions out there that they may come up with as well. And
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Like I say, I'm super appreciative of you just taking the time to show it to your viewers and stuff like that. I really appreciate that. But yeah. Okay, so if I turn left or right, I can turn and then I can go forward or I can go backwards,
so if you hold A
right?
down right now, how fast does it spin around in circles?
Like
Okay,
that.
I'm doing something wrong then because mine was spinning around really really fast, like I was just spiraling down or
Hmm.
spiraling around.
Yeah, check that next time you get into it and see.
Okay.
Because it has been there has been some work done with the parachute, but not where I consider it fully done yet.
Okay.
So but yeah, other than that, I'm my plan is just to go ahead and encode this, and then we'll go from there, and then I'll
Okay.
put
So
it up to Steam, and I'll
so
let you know on your stream if you're still on your stream when it goes up.
so no other things you're looking at this time, or no other questions on what we think of specific values of any other items at this time, or weapons or anything.
I mean, one thing that I want to show is eventually. Okay, so this is one other thing. I don't know if I showed this before or not, but this is. I can't wait to. So this is work in progress stuff right here,
Mm-hmm.
but this is a zip line. And eventually you'll be able to build this so both towers, you'll be able to first you'll place this tower and then you'll be able to place that tower wherever you want, but you literally
Oh
able
yeah.
be able to build in zip lines. So I'm looking forward to that. A lot of the stuff from the adventure park. So now that I know how to do the ramp build-ins, I know how to do a lot of this. So you'll be able to put in jump panels. You'll be able to put in wall runs, grappling hooks, even even chains. So like I say, I'm looking forward to like the next couple steps because I think it's going to be really add a lot to the mobility of it.
Yeah. So you're definitely looking to continue on with this game and make changes and stuff like that, correct?
Yeah, you know, I, I, I'm having a hard time being motivated with people anymore because I can't really get people to look at it much. But the thing is that there's a whole AI component to this game that really is very very compelling to get working, and so there's that's where there's kind of two faces to this game,
Mm-hmm.
and this face is the public people facing, and so I want to get it as smooth as possible. But yeah, I'm really hoping to get the AI plugged in soon because that'll the speed of the way things will increase in here will be pretty amazing once it's all plugged in.
Let's see here. All right. Well, then on that note, before we cut this off, then one other thing that I want to say to everybody out there is we do have I after I give out this one key, I do have one more key to give out if anyone's interested in it from that. But then the other thing is if you want to show support to this, as you see all the work that he's doing and everything in this, you want to show the support, you can actually get it on Steam right now. And it is, let me get this link here.
15.99. It'll
Yeah,
always be 15.99.
yeah, it is 15.99 US dollars right now, and from what he says, it's not going to change on any price or anything like that. There's not going to be like all these DLCs or anything. There's one thing that may be a possibility to cost more in the future if he decides to go down like the server route or so forth, but everything is at this point just the 15.99 and it'll stay at that price. So if
Right.
you're
Yeah. The whole
interested in
game
that,
is
okay,
Yeah, the whole game is 15.99. It won't change price.
yeah.
The server, the headless server, and the AI component that's coming along later on will have its own charge. But it won't be. It'll be $25.99 probably for that. So it's
Okay.
not going to be a ton either for that. But the
Yeah.
the whole game is playable completely independent of having your own headless server. That's just an add-on.
Yeah, so here's the link right now if you want to go in and show your support and purchase the game as well. So there you go, or at least add it into your wish list so that we know in the future that you're looking to that you're interested in this game, especially if you have me added in your Steam's friend list and so forth. I check people's wish list out all the time, so if we get any more copies or anything like that in the future, I can also do that and ping
Also,
y'all on it as
to
well.
let your people know, you had mentioned that your people like achievements.
Oh yeah.
You get if you upload a map, you get a special Steam modder achievement that you can't get unless you mod a game. And so it's a hard achievement to get, and all you have to do is come up with a custom map and upload it, and you'll get it from Steam. Not to mention that I'll give you a bunch of award points when I see the map up there too. So
Yeah, and so I uploaded on there. I think I already had it probably from that point, because when I did it, I didn't get anything from there. But I think I've already like did with some other game or something. I got it a long time ago, and
Yeah,
I
it's
may not have noticed it.
possible, but yeah, I did send you a bunch of points for your map and your review and stuff. So
Yeah, yeah, I
I
did
do
see on
try to
that, and I
do
appreciate
that.
that.
Yeah,
But y'all
I
gotta
gotta do.
understand, just because we get the game for free and everything, don't mean that we're gonna give it a good review because of this or that. We actually judge it on what it is and what it can be, and we see a lot behind this game and what it can be from that part. The only thing that a lot of us gamers have in that part is then seeing whether or not the developer would go the full mile for it. And so far, from everything that of what he's done, he's definitely showing he's willing to put into the work for it from that part and make it of even a bigger project of what it is right now and what it can be. And that's the whole thing. He's trying to make a program or game itself that you can then create what you want within it to make it into a whole nother game itself. So
Yeah.
I hope y'all check it out and enjoy it from that part. And it looks like you're already packaging up here right now as well, right?
Yep. Yep.
All right. So
Yep. Getting going. Getting going.
I definitely thank you for your time on this.
That's a I really do not understand why AAA studios are so damn slow about this, because if I can do this, it's just me. And like I say, we got what now? It's 3 updates within a week's time.
Well, you know how
So
many has to
if I
test it
can
and
do
stuff
that,
like that.
why in the world does it take? You can, but I mean, yeah, that's you're gonna see the problems. Like it's again, it's just me, but I feel like I have a pretty good thumb on where things are broken. Like when you go through your play sessions and you're like, look at this, look at this, look at this, 90% of it is like, yep, I know it's there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there is new stuff, and the new stuff is extremely valuable, don't get me wrong. But like I say, there is that 80-90% of it. It's like, oh yeah, no, I know that it's in there. I know I need to get to it. I need to get to it. It's just
And
like
you can
this
test this all you
everlasting
want,
list.
but you can test this all you want, and you still may not find all the bugs on it because you need people like us in the community to play the game and play it our way
That
and how we're
this
going to use it and to find the bugs from that part as well. I mean,
Yeah,
that's always been part of the
it,
community between programming, but between the creator and the community doing their
well,
part of reporting as they go through and what they want and
I
what
feel
bugs they
like
come into.
I feel like over the last 10 years, that's been really silenced, though. Like
Yeah.
the game studios are like, we don't want to hear from you, and we're going to do it our way, and we're rock stars, so
And this
we're going to
brings it
put out,
back. This brings
and
that back the good old days.
this brings back the idea of, well, if you can if I can make a level, then you should be able to make a level, and if I
Yeah.
can do this, you should be able to do this. And so it's kind of just basically saying, okay, here's the latest technology, but let's open it up and let's give everybody the freedom and creativity that we used to have in games like Quake or Jedi Knight.
Yeah.
And so and you know that's something that has been taken from us in the gaming world because of economy. It wasn't taken from us because of technology. It wasn't taken. It was
There
taken
was some greedy
because we said
companies out
we can.
there.
exactly. We can sell this stuff, so let's sell this stuff. And it takes look. DCF is on 5.4.4 Unreal. It's the latest, basically the latest Unreal Engine out there. And so basically, this is a platform for gamers to be able to then say, we want it this way, and we want this to go out this way. And so if you do
Mm.
that, you get a lot farther along, I think.
All right. Well, thank you again for your time on it. From that part, we will definitely want to schedule to look at the play the game a little off the air and then also on the air and show more of it from what we see with the updates. And but otherwise, then we got some other things we got to go ahead and start switching over to here on the stream. And we definitely look forward to seeing more with the game.
Well, and I look forward to seeing what you guys do with it. I always love watching you. The other day when you were playing on your track, it was like, "Oh yeah," and I'm
It's like
yelling at the
I can
screen,
drive,
"No,
I
do
can
this,
drive.
do this." Yeah, so, dude, I'll tell you. I've been building this thing for 3 years, and I've been building in a bubble, and so yeah, to hear you get all excited about riding your motorcycle around a track that you built was just like that. That is what I've been looking for an awfully long time. So yeah, it was
Although
really cool to
probably
see.
not about me celebrating that I flew off the map.
That was cool. That was cool. Although I think the ragdoll should have probably triggered on that landing.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, we have too much fun finding bugs and
the
falling through a
the problem
never-ending
is,
hole.
yeah, the problem is that I'm never gonna look at that game without seeing like, oh, there's that problem. Oh, there's that problem. You know what I mean? I can't look at it and just have the joy of looking at it anymore. I only see it for, oh, there's a bug. Oh, that's wrong. I gotta fix that. Oh, I gotta fix that. You know what I mean? It's horrible that way. So.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and switch here, and I will see you later.
All
Thanks
right,
again
man.
for your time.
Thanks so much. Bye bye.